Hey fam, thanks so much for the love in my last video. So today we're going to be learning how to go about the sewing process of this stylish gown. So this is the part 2 of the video. So like I said earlier, this is my upper part. I went ahead to sew the facing to the back pattern as you can see, and the front part. I've sewn the facing, and I also made use of a tissue stay for stability toward the zipper region. So I went ahead to turn out the neckline for the front as you can see with a facing too. And after doing that, I'm just going to place the back, and that's the back on the front, right side facing right side, and I'm going to go ahead to join the shoulders together. I'll also go ahead to take in the necessary seam for the fitting on the side of the upper part, and then I'll join the sleeve. That I'll be doing off camera. Okay, now this is the back block for the skirt. Now I went ahead to pin down the part I'm going to be fixing my zipper on the gown. I also went ahead to just sew the part I need to sew. So this is what it's looking like. So now to the highlight of today's tutorial. Now we're going to be learning how to sew this, and I would want you to pay attention to this particular process. So this is why I said it's very important to mark. So because I already marked this part, I'm just going to go ahead to fix this. Let's look at the way I'm fixing it. I'll just fix it the normal way it should be. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead to fix the first, the second, and the third layer as you can see me do. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the edge, after which I'll fix it to the right side. Then I'll open it up towards the part that has that V shape. That's the edge of the triangle. Then I'll pin it down. Okay, just look at the way I'm doing this. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I'm going to go ahead for the second cutout, and for the second cutout patch, and I'll do same for the third. Now this is very important because this is going to guide the way you're sewing, and of course you know you're making use of the right parts, and you don't have to confuse yourself in order to avoid extra work. So now look at the way I'm placing it. After I pin it down, I'm just going to go ahead using my hand. I'm going to sew it down to the extreme end. I can start from that point. Then after sewing it, then I'll put in my needle, then I'll go to the other point and just flip it. Now you have to be very gentle at this point, especially if you are not good at sewing curve. I'm going to advise you try to learn how to sew curved edges or sharp edges. Okay, so right now I'm just going to go ahead to pin that down, and I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to be doing this on the sewing machine so that you can learn how to do it also. Now this is very easy, fam. I'm not even going to lie, but you just need to practice. It's easy, but you have to practice, and it's okay if you make mistake on your first try. Of course, you can always remove the seam and redo it. So I'm starting from the other edge, okay, the other open edge. So you're going to be taking in consideration your 0.5 inches seam allowance, or whatever seam allowance you left on yours. So as you are going toward the sharp edge, this sharp edge, you have to be very careful because you would not take fully your 0.5 inches seam allowance. So this is one trick I just use in order to achieve a perfect fit for my. So as you are going, you have to be careful. So when you get to that edge where it's top, just look at what I'm doing here. You are going to put in your needle, okay? Put in your needle as you can see me. Let your needle be there. Now you have to lift up your presser foot. You need to lift up your presser foot, and after that, flip now your colored fabric. In my own case, what I have here is like around lilac, so you have to flip up. I flip up that lilac fabric. I had to take it up. Now you might need something maybe like a seam ripper or your thread cutter. You might need to use it for you to be able to make that surface flat, because you don't want to take in the black fabric as you sew. You don't want it to join together. Okay, so you have to make sure everything is flat underneath, then you turn it the other way and you sew it. I hope you get what I'm saying here. All right, so after doing that, you just go ahead to sew it to the extreme end, and that's just it. So just try it, and do let me know if you're able to get yours, I really appreciate that. But this is just the way I sew mine. So this is what it's looking like. Now you have to do you have to notch, yes, at that edge, but you have to notch carefully so that you don't pierce through your seam. So you have to notch that point. You can see how mine is looking, right? So take your time, use your thread cutter or maybe a tiny scissors just to notch that point so that it can relax well. Also, you have to do a lot of you have to do proper ironing in order for this to lay flat. So after notching, I'm just going to go ahead to repeat the method on other points. So this is what it's looking like on the right side after notching. You can see that it's laying flat, right? So I'm just going to go ahead to repeat same process for the second layer, and I'm just going to go ahead to do same for the third layer, and that is just all for the cutout patches. So like I said, it's simple, but you might need to practice one or twice before you get it right, especially if you're a total beginner that is not used to sewing edges. If you're not used to sewing edges, curved edges, then you need to practice a lot in order to get this right. Okay, fam, if you've watched to this point and you enjoyed this video, do subscribe to my channel. I post sewing tutorials, as you can see, and do well to turn on a notification bell so that when I post videos, you get to see them. And don't forget to share so that others can learn too. All right, so after sewing, this is what the right side is looking like, and you can see that the wrong side is also looking neat. So if you have your serger overlocking machine with you, do take time to overlock the rough edges, and now you have to iron. So at this point, I already ironed. Take time to iron. You might need to spray water if you don't have a steam iron. Make use of a sprayer like you can see me do. Spray in between, iron in between the seam, iron in between the seam. You can see the way I opened up my seam, and that is why my front block can lay down flat. All right, now you can see that I don't have any shortage, right? So if you don't have your 0.5-inch round, you might be having shortages when you're done sewing the skirts. So that's just the main process. I'm just going to go ahead to place my back pattern on my front pattern. So I already closed up my the zipper side with pin, then my slit also I close it up with pin so that I can have an accurate fitting. So I just went ahead to pin the edges together. Now I noticed a little shortage on this front block, so what I did was that I had to shift it down a bit, because remember this, I'm working with a stretchy fabric. That's why I told you that any fabric you'll be using for your cutout patches must be similar in texture. So what I did was that I shifted it to the extreme end, because this fabric will definitely stretch when it's on my body. Then I went to the upper part too, and I put it at the right end it's supposed to be with the back pattern. So I went ahead to sew like that, pulling it so that it can stretch. Okay, so that's what you have to do. But if you are using fabrics that have different texture, then there might be a little bit of problem when you are joining together. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead here using my hip length measurement to indicate where my hip length is, taking into consideration my 0.5 I'll be using for seam allowance. I went ahead to insert my waist round measurement divided by 4. Then I went to my hip length measurements. I indicated my hip round measurement divided by 4. Then I went to my lower end, and I also indicated how pencil I want my skirt to be. So this is totally up to you. After doing that, I went ahead to shape this as you can see me do, and I'm just going to repeat the same process on the other side. Then I'm going to be joining this, I'm going to be sewing this off camera for a proper to give me proper fit. So this is what the skirt part is looking like, the lower end of the gown. When I was done sewing, I've joined everything together. So this is what it's looking like, and even at this point, I'm not even going to lie, I'm loving this skirt. Okay, I'm loving this gown already, rather. So this is what I'm going to do. I just went ahead, I brought in the upper part, I've joined the upper part too. Then I'm going to be joining side seam to the side seam of the skirt part, so the side seam of the upper part to the side seam of the skirt part. Now you have to hold this with a pin, okay, so that your seam will be properly aligned, because you don't want to have your seam or for the upper part on one part, then the lower part, that's for the skirt part on another part. So pin this down with a pin, and then you can go ahead to, join your upper parts and your lower parts together to have a complete gown. So fam, at the end of it all, I just went ahead also to sew this. Then I fixed in my zipper. I did my finishing off camera, and I'm going to be showing you the final look on my body. Okay, so that's just it for this video. So this is what the final look is giving at the end of the day. I think I really love the fit. I love the fit, and it came out well. So are you going to be trying this? Do let me know. In case you try this, please don't forget to tag me, probably on social media, and that's on Instagram or via our Facebook group. Going to be coming online very soon. Hopefully by May, I'll be back fully online to post tips and all of that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.